Have you ever felt like your kindness is ignored or even disrespected? Have you noticed how some people seem to take advantage of your good heart rather than appreciate it? Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychiatrist, gave us powerful insights into human behavior that help explain this painful reality. Kindness is a beautiful quality, but without deep self-awareness, it can become a mask, a burden, or even a door to mistreatment. In this message, we'll uncover 5 powerful psychological reasons based on Jung's teachings that explain why your kindness might be costing you respect. First, you might be using kindness to avoid conflict. Jung once said that people will do almost anything to avoid facing themselves. Kindness can sometimes be a shield, a way to hide from confrontation. You say yes when you mean no. You smile when you're really angry. You give in just to keep the peace. But what lies behind that is often fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of being called selfish. Fear of facing uncomfortable emotions like anger and guilt. Instead of dealing with them, you bury them under politeness. The problem is, people can sense it. They feel your kindness isn't grounded, it's anxious, it's fearful, it's a way of avoiding the truth. And over time, that doesn't earn you respect. It gives others silent permission to overstep your limits. When you don't stand up for yourself, you give others power over you. Jung talked about the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we avoid. If your strength, your anger, your firmness are all buried in the shadow, your kindness becomes empty. It's not generosity, it's fear in disguise, and people don't respect fear. They may like it because it benefits them, but they won't value it. The answer is to face your shadow and speak your truth with strength and grace. When your yes means yes and your no means no, kindness becomes powerful, not passive. Second, you rely on hope instead of setting boundaries. Jung emphasized becoming whole by knowing who you are and protecting that space. But too often, kind people just hope others will treat them well instead of clearly setting limits. They think if they're good, others will be good back. But that's not how the world works. People often act from unconscious desires and unhealthy patterns. Without strong boundaries, even decent people can cross lines unintentionally. You may project your own kindness onto others and assume they'll treat you the same. You trust too fast. You forgive too easily. And when people step on your limits, you freeze because you don't want to look mean or selfish. But boundaries aren't harsh. They're healthy. They show where you begin and where someone else ends. Without them, your kindness turns into a blurry mess, and people walk all over it without even realizing. Every time you say yes while your heart screams no, you train others to ignore your truth, not because they're cruel, but because you haven't shown them how to treat you. The way forward is to create clear, respectful boundaries. Say less, but mean it fully. Let your energy and presence speak louder than your words. Kindness shines brightest when it has firm edges. Third, you may be mistaking approval for connection. Jung warned us about the ego's hunger for validation. Many people with wounded inner children crave approval so deeply that they confuse being liked with being loved. They're kind, not from choice, but from a need to be accepted. Kindness becomes a trade. They give it hoping to get approval in return. But people can feel that neediness. They may not say it, but they know when your kindness comes from a place of insecurity. And instead of appreciating it, they might take it for granted or even manipulate it. This happens when you haven't healed the part of you that thinks you're only valuable when others like you. Maybe you grew up being praised only when you were good and punished when you weren't. So now you believe that being liked is the same as being worthy. But real connection isn't about performance, it's about being real. When you mold yourself to please others, you disconnect from your own soul. And Jung believed that was the deepest wound of all. To gain true respect, you must first respect yourself. Be kind because it's who you are, not because it earns applause. When your kindness comes from wholeness, not from need, people feel safe around you. They may not always agree with you, but they'll respect your strength. Fourth, you suppress your darker emotions, Jung said. What you don't make conscious will control your life, and you'll call it fate. Kind people often hide their anger, jealousy, or sadness, thinking those feelings make them bad or unspiritual. But suppressing emotions doesn't make them disappear, it only drives them deeper. Eventually, they show up in burnout, passive aggression, or emotional breakdowns. Your voice may sound calm, but your energy feels tired or tense. Your words are nice, but your presence reveals the truth. To become whole, you must accept every part of yourself. When you reject your anger, you lose your fire. When you ignore your hurt, you lose your depth. People sense this gap. They don't see you as solid. They see someone wearing a mask. Respect doesn't come from pretending to be okay. It comes from embracing all that you are and turning your wounds into wisdom. When you honor your anger, it becomes purpose. When you acknowledge your sadness, it turns into empathy. You stop performing kindness and start embodying strength. Ask yourself, what feelings are you hiding behind that polite smile? What truth are you afraid to show? Healing begins where pretending ends. And finally, you may be attracting narcissists and users. Jung believed that unconscious patterns attract unconscious people. If you're always giving, always forgiving, always available, you become a magnet for those who take more than they give. Why? Because they sense your need to be needed. They sense your fear of rejection, your lack of boundaries. They may not do it intentionally, but they will use you. Jung spoke of psychic vampires, people who drain your energy because they're disconnected from their own inner light. If your kindness comes from guilt or fear, they'll see you as an easy source to feed from. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to break that cycle. Ask yourself, why do I give to people who drain me? Why do I stay quiet when I want to speak? Why do I confuse loyalty with self-sacrifice? The answers are within. When you value your time, your energy, your spirit, you naturally raise your standards. You stop giving from fear and start giving from wisdom. You become kind and clear, soft and strong, generous and grounded. And when you live that way, the right people won't just appreciate you, they'll honor you. The message is simple. Don't harden your heart. Heal your soul. Your kindness isn't the problem. Unconscious kindness is. When your kindness is rooted in fear, it attracts disrespect. But when it flows from wholeness, it demands respect without ever asking for it. So if you've been feeling unseen, unheard, or unappreciated, stop trying harder to be nice. Start trying harder to be real. Respect yourself, and the world will follow. Thank you for listening. If this message spoke to your heart, share it with someone who needs it. Stay kind, stay strong, and never stop growing.